what mind is and how to control it. It has been a contentious topic which has been discussed by different religious scholars at different times. Today I will discuss a Sikh perspective. But before I start discussing this topic, few lines about what Sikhism is. Sikh means a student, and the prophets are called guru, that means a teacher. So it is a student-teacher relationship. There are 10 gurus, and after that the teachings of the gurus was contained in the holy book, which is called Sri Guru Granth Sahib. That means now the teacher, the guru is Sri Guru Granth Sahib. The strange thing about this holy book is that the writings of the gurus was passed on from one guru to the other, and it was written and it was completed and compiled by the gurus themselves. So there was no chance of any adulteration into the writings. And the other strange thing of this holy book is that it does not contain only the teachings of the gurus, but also of the saints of Hinduism and Muslims, and Punjabi, Persian and other Indian dialects. Because it contains teachings of other religious saints also, the message is universal. The message is how a human being can live a perfect life. Sri Guru Granth Sahib is written in the poetic form. So there is a need to understand the actual meaning and not the word meaning. Today I will give the English translation word by word of the hymns which I am going to explain, and along with that I will give the meaning as well, because in the poems it's needed that we understand what somebody is trying to say. And then again, in the Sri Guru Granth Sahib, gurus have used the concepts and emotions used at the time by the people, especially in Hinduism, so that the people can understand it better. For example, on page 1 is written, "You wandered through 8 incarnations." At that time, there are the incarnation takes place in that 8.4 millions. But Guru Nanak, the first Guru, said on page 7, nights, days, weeks and seasons, wind, water, fire and the nether regions. In the midst of these, he established the earth as a home for dharma upon it. He placed the various species of beings. Their names are uncounted and endless. So Guru Nanak believes that there are endless and uncounted living beings, not 8.4 million. Again, if we look at the science, because Sikhism is a scientific religion, and everything which is written in the Sri Guru Granth Sahib can be proved scientifically. The most common accepted theory of creation in science is Big Bang theory, which came into being in 1950. But Nanak said in 1500 AD, that is about 450 years before the Big Bang theory was accepted by science, that before this creation came into being, there was darkness, vacuum, and only God himself was there. Then he created a sound. From that sound came gas, and from that gas came water, and the first living being came from water. And with that bang, with that sound, he created many universes, many galaxies. And they are countless, as I said before on page 7. So what science is finding today, Guru Nanak said 450 years ago, before the Big Bang Theory came. And then he said there are nether worlds beneath nether worlds, and hundreds of thousands of worlds that is written on 5. Now, you know what Sikhism stands for. Now I will start with the mind. Bhagat Kabir, who was a Hindu saint, his hymn is on page 330. He writes, people beg for pleasure, but pain comes instead. I would rather not beg for that pleasure. Not in corruption, but still beg for pleasure. How will you merge with God? So what he's trying to say is that people are trying to find peace by corruption. They want to wealth, but by corruption. But when you are corrupt, you can't have peace. If you are caught, you are in jail. Otherwise, we are always worried. So this type of pleasure, this type of peace, I don't want. That's why they can't merge with God. They can't find God. Then he writes, even Shiva and Brahma are afraid of this pleasure, but I have judged that pleasure to be true. Even sages like Sanak and Narad and the 1,000-headed serpent did not see the mind in the body. These were the God of Hinduism at the time. And he says that they knew that this type of pleasure is bad, but people have found it to be true. Now he asks a question. Can someone search for this mind? When it escapes from the body, where does the mind go? Now this same question was asked by Siddhs to Guru Nanak when this heart and body did not exist. Where did the mind reside? And Guru Nanak replied, when the heart and the body did not exist to hermit, then the mind resided in the absolute detached Lord. That shows that mind is part of the Lord God himself. Bhagat Kabir says again in the same hymn, for the Guru's grace, Jayadev and Namdev came to know this through loving devotional worship of the Lord. These are two other Hindu saints of that time, Jayadev and Namdev. This mind does not come or go. One whose doubt is dispelled knows the truth. Now here Bhagat Kabir is saying that this mind does not come and go. That means this mind does not die and that mind does not take birth. This mind has no form or outline. By God's command it was created. Understanding God's command, it will be absorbed in. There is another thing in Guru Granth Sahib which says what does not have form and outline. Shri Guru Granth Sahib says, even God has no form, no shape, no color. God is beyond the three qualities. So that means God and mind are one thing. Mind is part of the God himself. Then he says, does anyone know the secret of this mind? This mind shall merge into the Lord, the giver of peace and pleasure. That means after we die, the mind becomes part of the Lord Himself, part of the God Himself. And Guru Granth Sahib also says, his soul and the Supreme Soul becomes one. Then Bhagat Kabir again says, there is one soul and it pervades all bodies. Kabir dwells upon this mind, Paramatma. And Guru Granth Sahib also says, Guru Nanak says, that dear Lord abides in each and every heart. The saints proclaim this as true. Now, according to this hymn of Bhagat Kabir, mind is part of God, and mind becomes one with the God once the body dies. Now, let us see how does mind function. If you punch me on my face or say something bad to me, what happens? This information comes to me, it is identified and evaluated. If the evaluation is that whatever happened to me is bad, what happens? It hurts my ego and I react. And my reaction is according to the state of my mind. Most of the time, it will be tit for tat. You hit me, I hit you back. You say something bad to me, I say something bad to you. But if I have a control of my mind, then this reaction will not be tit for tat. I will not let whatever happened to me to hurt my ego. If I am in humility, I will just keep quiet, maybe smile and go away. People might say, Kala Singh is a coward. He could react. He has got no power. But no, it's not like that. It is that I have controlled my mind and I have stopped this chain reaction to stop there. And again, if you say something good to me, what happens? My ego gets inflated. And when my ego gets inflated, you can see the reaction on the face. But if I have control of my mind, even when you say something good to me, there will be no inflation of my ego and my reaction will be the same. So what Bhagat Kabir says, that this reaction was done by me? No. This reaction was done by my mind. Bhagat Kabir on page 101 says, whatever is done by the mind. Mind always makes us do, most of the time, wrong things in our life. If it is a Sunday, in the morning you want to go to Gurudwara, want to go to mosque, want to go to church, want to go to temple, mind says, okay, forget it. Let's sleep. Today is Sunday, where to go? But if your friend phones at that time and says, okay, let's go for a picnic, we're arranging a lot of beers, lot of girls, lot of boys, let's go. And mind gets up very fast at that time, gets ready and go. Now, this evil, immoral nature of the mind in Sri Guru Granth Sahib is equated with animals. On page 156 is written, the mind is the elephant, the Guru is the elephant driver, and knowledge is the whip. Wherever the Guru drives the mind, it goes. O Nanak, without the whip, the elephant wanders into the wilderness again and again. So here the mind is equated with an elephant. Guru is the elephant driver. And knowledge is the whip. On page 1369 is written, Kabir, the mind has become a bird It soars and flies in the 10 directions. According to the company it keeps, so are the fruits it eats. So Kabir says the mind is like a bird. It flies around. On page 1330 is written, the mind is Maya, the mind is a chaser, the mind is a bird flying across the sky. And then again written, the mind is a yogi, the mind is a pleasure seeker, the mind is foolish and ignorant, the mind is the giver, the mind is the beggar, mind is the great guru, the creator. So the mind is a foolish and ignorant, and mind can be a guru also, and mind can be a creator also, because we have seen that mind is a part of the Lord himself. So let us see, is mind's immoral nature by birth? Is it inborn that the mind is of immoral nature? Let us see what Sri Guru Granth Sahib says. On page 1261 is written, is this mind a householder, or is this mind a detached renunciate? Is this mind beyond social class, eternal and unchanging? Is this mind fickle, or is this mind detached, that means detached from the evil desires? How has this mind been gripped by possessiveness? This is a question asked. O Pandit, O religious scholar, reflect on the mind. Now it is directed to the Pandits, that Hindu religious scholars, but in fact the Guru is trying to say this thing to everyone. O Pandit, O religious scholar, reflect on the mind. Rest what you read so many other things, you only carry a heavy load of ego. Here Guru is trying to say that, O religious scholars, you gain knowledge, you read books and books, but what you happens is that you become egoistic, that you read so many books, you got so much knowledge. What is needed is to control the mind and be humble rather than getting egoistic, and what you get knowledge from the religious books, you apply it on your daily life. Again, the Guru says, the Creator has attached it to Maya and possessiveness, and forcing his order, he created the world. So that means, according to Sri Guru Granth Sahib, the mind was born with Maya, with possessiveness, with evil desires. This is how the God created this world. By Guru's grace, understand this, O sibling of destiny, remain forever in the sanctuary of the Lord. Now in the next, in the other lines of this hymn, the Guru has tried to say, can we change the mind and how to change it? I will discuss that, the other lines, later on. It is normally said that if you want to make a friend or even an enemy, you must know what are their weaknesses and what are their good qualities. Because if you want to win over your enemy, you must know their weaknesses so that you can use them. And same thing goes for the friends also. So let us see what are the weaknesses of the mind. Because we want to change this mind, we want to control this mind. So to control an enemy or to control a friend, we must know their weaknesses. On page 28, it is written, O mind, why are you so lazy? Become Gurmukh and meditate on the Naam. So here the mind is said to be lazy, very lazy. But this mind is lazy only for good things, not for bad things. As I said just now, that if we want to go to the Gurudwara or to to the temple, the mind is lazy. But if a phone comes, let's go for a picnic, lot of drinks, mind is not lazy. Mind will get up very fast and go. And where it says meditate on the Naam, here just to explain that the meditate on the Naam means live the life according to his teachings. Then it's written, O fickle mind, through cleverness, no one has found the Lord. So the mind is very clever. But the clever is only for the wrong things. If I am caught speeding, I will have so many excuses to give to the policeman. Very clever. On page 127 is written, this unstable mind cannot be held steady. So the mind is very unstable. We need to steady it so that it is contented. On page 1192, sexual desire and anger hold the mind in its power. So the mind is having sexual desires, it's got anger. On page 34, the desires of the mind are fulfilled when one is filled to overflowing with the Shabad. So the mind has got all these desires, and the desires are all evil desires, not good desires. On page 15, harsh words, that's rudeness, bring only grief. Listen of foolish and ignorant mind. So the mind gives harsh words, rude words. Mind is foolish. Mind is ignorant. O mind, renounce your egotistical pride. So the mind is very egoistic. It has got pride. But what we need to do is to bring humility to the mind. Now, what are the positive qualities of the mind? Mind is very strong. Mind is very powerful. We cannot change the mind. It's very difficult to change the mind. It's very difficult to tame the mind. It is said that it's better to have an intelligent enemy than having a foolish friend. Mind is our friend. Mind makes us do everything wrong. So that means our mind is a foolish friend. I'll give a small story about a foolish friend, how it can kill you. There was a king, and he was paranoid that one day he will be killed by somebody, even he didn't like his own bodyguards. So what he thought, one day he found a monkey, and he taught monkey how to use sword and how to protect him. Now he told monkey that I'm sleeping, make sure nobody disturb me. And monkey is standing now when king is sleeping with his sword in his hand. After some time, a fly came and started troubling the sleeping king. This monkey took the sword and tried to kill this fly because he was told that nothing should disturb me. Now this fly came and sat on king's nose, and monkey took the sword and hit the king on the nose. Fly flew away, but the sword killed the king. Soon his bodyguards came, caught the monkey and killed him. So a foolish friend killed the king and got killed himself also. That is how our mind, foolish friend, is. This foolish friend of ours will make us drink and drive. We get an accident, we get killed. So the foolish friend has killed the body in which he himself was living. So let's have an intelligent enemy than a foolish friend. Now, other qualities of the mind. It has got a very strong speed, very fast speed. It has got a very good memory. The speed is so good, so great, and the memory is so strong that even when you are sitting now listening to my YouTube, suddenly the mind will go far away, maybe to your own home country, will do something, will go into the place where you were 40 years ago, see that thing, enjoy that thing, and come back within seconds. And suddenly there will be a smile on your face, and somebody asks you what happened. You will say, no, it's okay. It's okay. That's how strong, that's how great the speed is, and that's how the memory is. In a computer, it takes some time to get the memory from the hard disk, but with the mind, it comes within microseconds. Now, if this speed direction is changed from going onto the wrong direction to the right direction, to the direction of the God, it can reach the God also with the same speed. That means if I am sitting in a pub and my mind goes to the Lord God, while sitting there also, it can reach with the same speed to the God. The same speed it goes whilst you are sitting in the Gurdwara, and it will go somewhere else. Now, how to change this direction? How to control the mind? For that, we need to know the supply line to the mind, from where it is getting its resources. If we know that, if we know the supply line, we can either block that supply line or we can change the supply line. I most of the time say that mind is very helpless. Mind is very helpless. Why? Because it is being controlled by other forces. That's why it's doing wrong things. So let's see what are these outside forces. We are told in all our religions that our previous life affects us. I don't know if in my previous life I was an animal or a bird or what, or a plant, I don't know. Or if I was a human being or not. So if it was an animal, how those things are controlling my mind now, I don't know. But what I know, that my DNA controls me. My genes control me. And from where I get my DNA, from where I get my genes, from my forefathers, my parents, grandparents, great-great-grandparents. So whatever they did is imprinted on the genes, on the DNA. That affects us. I'm a doctor, and most of you also know, otherwise also, you don't have to be a doctor to know this thing, that if there is, say, diabetes or hypertension in the family, it affects us, but not to all of us. Some of my siblings will have, some of them don't. The illness has passed through the DNA, through the genes, to some of them, but not to others. Otherwise, also, if you see, if there are three children, three siblings in the family, you will see that all three of them have different nature. Somebody is very aggressive, somebody is very quiet, somebody is very studious, somebody is not. So that means those genes which were present in our forefathers have been passed on, but in some it is aggressiveness, in some it is quietness. And even if you see the way we look, somebody says, oh, this one has got golden hair, but parents don't have. Mother is not golden hair, father is not golden hair. Then one of the relative will come and say, oh yes, his great aunt, she had golden hair. So the golden hair has been passed on in the genes by the great aunt now, but in between it was not. So that shows that our nature is affected by our ancestors. I would say not the previous life, but the previous life is of the ancestors. This is explained very nicely by Steve Hammonds. He posted his article on earthpages.org named Deep DNA Memory Theories. Can we remember our ancestors' lives? Very well explained. Now, the other thing which controls our mind, one is our DNA, other is what we learn in our life. As small children, when we are growing up, when mother says, don't go to that corner, it's dark, there is a evil spirit living there, don't go. If that gets imprinted on my mind, I will be afraid of darkness throughout my life. If I see my father coming home drunk, coming and beating up his wife, coming and beating up the children, it will affect me throughout my life. If I see as a child that the whole family goes to the Gurudwara, goes to the church, go to the temple, pray, I will become like that throughout my life. So we have seen that my DNA and what I learn as a child affects our mind. Now this becomes our thinking. And this thinking is the mind. Now let us see what is the role of brain in this one. Now brain is a supercomputer. Whatever we have learned as a child is imprinted. Our DNA, genes, that is imprinted. So the brain works as a hard disk. It stores, retains, and subsequently recall this knowledge, which is called memory. Even the other information, even the experiences. This is what is written on page 415. Guru Nanak says, this mind commits its deeds of karma, and this mind follows the dharma. This mind is born of 5 elements. Of 5 elements is made this body, including the brain, and if there is no brain, there is no mind. If somebody gets mental illness, then if you want this person to change the mind or to recall some memories, it becomes difficult because brain has got chemicals. And if there is a imbalance in the chemical imbalance, that gives mental illnesses. And such a person cannot change the mind. Now this memory which is imprinted in the brain from our genes, from whatever we learn as a child, becomes our wisdom. And this wisdom we use throughout our life to solve our problems. There are two types of wisdom. One is good and one is bad. Can we change our good wisdom to bad wisdom and bad wisdom to good wisdom? Means whatever we have learned through our DNA and throughout our life, can we change it? Let us see it. Now, let's see that I'm trying to do something wrong. I'm always using one example and I'll continue that one, drinking and driving. I'm drinking, now I want to drive. Whenever I try to do this thing or any other wrong thing, there's an inner voice which wants, don't do it. This is always. But the mind is very strong, very powerful, as I said. It overrules this inner voice and says, okay, let's go. Now, what is needed is to make this inner voice strong so that we can overrule the mind. When we do it, this inner voice, we call it the voice of God. When we make it strong, that's what is said in Guru Granth Sahib on page 661. His soul and the Supreme Soul becomes one. Now, we can acquire the wisdom, we can change our wisdom by meeting good people, by reading good books, by gaining knowledge. What this wisdom is? In Guru Granth Sahib, it's written, let the wisdom be your mother and the contentment your father. So the wisdom is equated with the mother. Even in the ancient Egyptian language, wisdom is equated with the mother. Now we know how the mind is made, how the mind is formed, that is through our DNA, controlling it, whatever we learn throughout our life, from childhood even up to now. We will discuss how to change it. But before that, let's see, is God biased? Does God put some people in the right path and some in the wrong path? Because some people can change their mind, some can't. And we always say, God does everything. So is God that biased? Let us see what Sri Guru Granth Sahib says. Page 602. He looks alike upon all with his glance of grace, but people receive the fruits of their rewards according to their love for the Lord. So the grace of the God is same on everyone. It is up to us what type of fruit we get from him. On page 116, as are the desires one harbors, so are the rewards one receives. So it depends upon what I desire. If I desire wrong, I get wrong. Page 302, as one desired the true God, so are the rewards he receives. On page 474, he sows seeds of poison and demands ambrosial nectar. Behold, what justice is this? If I sow cactus, I get thorns. I can't expect to get lotus flower out of that. Page 4. You shall harvest what you plant. Page 124. Some are stuck in falsehood, and false are the rewards they receive. I'll give an example for this one, that the clouds have come. From the clouds come the rain. And this rain is falling on the earth. What happens? In some places, this rain has given an effect. Plants grow, give fruits, but in other parts of the earth, this rain has not given any effect. Because in this part of the earth where there are plants, somebody worked on the earth. On the other where there was nothing, nobody worked on that. So we need to work on our mind so that we can receive the grace of the God. His grace, like clouds, rain, is there for everyone alike. But our desires, if they are bad, it's like that part of the earth where no plant grows. So we need to make our mind where on the part of the earth where plants grow and produce the fruits. Now, can we change our mind and how to do it? Same hymn, page 1261, where I said that I'll discuss it later on. The Creator has attached it to Maya and possessiveness, and forcing His order, He created the world. By Guru's grace, understand this, O sibling of destiny, remain forever in the sanctuary of the Lord. Now, the rest of the hymn. He alone is a Pandit who sheds the load of three qualities. Night and day, he chants the name of the one Lord. He is the only scholar who sheds the load of three qualities of Maya, three evil qualities of Maya, and lives the life according to his teachings. He accepts the teaching of the true Guru. He offers his head to the true Guru. Now, offers his head means gives up his egoism. He remains forever unattached in the state of nirvana, that means without the evil desires. Such a Pandit is accepted in the court of the Lord. He preaches that the one Lord is within all beings. As he sees the one Lord, he knows the one Lord. That person whom the Lord forgives, it is united with him. He finds eternal peace here and hereafter. Says Nanak, what can anyone do? He alone is liberated, whom the Lord blesses with his grace. Now, what's Lord's blessing and grace? We will discuss more. But we have seen just now that Lord's grace is with everybody, every time. Night and day, he sings the glorious praises of the Lord. Then he no longer bothers with the proclamations of the Shastras or the Vedas. That means we can change our mind. Like we say that sometimes we are of two minds. And then we ponder upon it. Then we make up our mind. We change our mind. It happens every day. Now, to understand this, let us see what are the similarities between an animal and a human being. Animals and human beings both love each other, both have sex, both reproduce, both take care of their children, both take care of the food for their children, both protect their children, both teach their children, both house their children, both live like a family, and both knows what is good and what is bad. Even animals know what is good and bad, and they can also learn. So what is the difference between a human being and an animal? If animal can also learn. The only difference between human being and the animal is that human being can learn by reading books, by meeting good people on their own, because animals can only be taught, like circus animals, and they learn only those things. But human beings can learn on their own and change themselves and change their mind and can be one with God. But animals cannot. That's what is written on page 267. They belong to the human species, but they act like animals. Those human beings who do not do this thing, who do not change their mind, they are animals in human form. Now let us see how to change our mind. I will take Chanakya's strategy. Chanakya has been a very great thinker in India, who was born few centuries ago. And according to his strategy, there are 4 ways to change somebody to someone. One is called Psalm. Make someone understand. If you want to get my work done from somebody, I'll go request, make this person understand that this thing needs to be done, and sometimes it is done and sometimes it is not done. So this is the first step, Psalm. Second is Dam, price. If somebody doesn't do the work, give him the price. Sometimes we call it bribe, and say, here it is, please do my work. Same way we can change our mind. First is Psalm, make the mind understand that it is good to change. If it doesn't, then it's the price, Dam. That if you go to the Gurudwara, if you go to the church, if you go to the mosque, if you go to the temple, God will get happy with you and your desires will be fulfilled, because we are asking the God every day, give me a good car, good house, good children, good wife, good husband, price. And many people go to the Gurudwara for that thing. Number 3rd is Dand, that is punishment. What we do if somebody doesn't do my work, I'll call some ruffians, hit this man, punch this man when he comes out. Maybe he will get scared after that and do my work. Same thing is with our mind. Whatever our mind, if you don't go to that temple, you don't go to the Gurudwara, you will go to the hell. And mind gets scared of the hell. Many people go because of that. 4th is Bhed, that is a secret, classified information. If the man doesn't do my work even then I find his secrets and start by blackmailing him. You don't do it, you see this, it will be published in the newspaper. Get scared, does the work. Same thing is with the mind. We can blackmail the mind. If you don't do this thing, what will happen? The community will come to know if I am doing something wrong. So if I go to the church, to the Gurudwara, everybody will see very every day, every time, and everything is okay, right? That's how it is. 4 ways to make the mind understand. Now we can change the mind through spirituality. There is a difference between a religion and spirituality. A religion is rituals. Go to the temple, go to the Gurdwara, do the rituals, come back. But spirituality is to change our mind, to change our attitude. That is positive attitudes towards self and others. That is called spirituality. So what is needed is to change our attitude. Now before we go there, let's see what is Guru's grace. We saw that Guru's grace is always there. So what Guru does is, Guru will teach us the true path through the holy book, how to walk that path. And what is our deeds? Our deed is that we should make ourselves worthy of His grace by accepting His teachings and walk on that path. If we face difficulties walking this path, overcome them according to Guru's teachings. And if we go astray, come back according to the Guru's teachings. Let us see what is God's grace. Page 302. The true Guru is the field of Dharma. As one plants the seeds there, so are the fruits obtained. So Guru is a field of Dharma. The Gursikh plant ambrosial nectar and obtain the Lord as their ambrosial fruit. Their faces are radiant in this world and the next. In the court of the Lord, they are robed with honor. Some have cruelty in their hearts. They constantly act in cruelty. As they plant, so are the fruits which they eat. So the true Guru is a field of Dharma, and it is up to us what we sow there and what we get. What mind have to understand? Page 441. O my mind, you are the embodiment of the divine light. Recognize your own origin. So the mind is part of the divine Lord Himself. And how to do it? O my mind, walk in harmony with the true Guru. That means accept the teachings. Then what will happen? Page 36. O mind, dwell in the balanced state of your own inner being. Then what will we achieve? Victory over mind is victory over the world, and his soul and the Supreme Soul becomes one. That's what we need to do. Now, what is this inner voice I was talking about? What is this inner voice, which is called voice of the God? Page 1427. The dear Lord abides in each and every heart. The saints proclaim this as true. So it is His inner voice, His Lord's voice, which prevents us from doing wrong things. Page 293. The Guru has given the healing ointment of spiritual wisdom and dispelled the darkness of ignorance. So we have to remove this darkness of ignorance and bring light of His spiritual wisdom into us. That's when we say that the 10th door has opened. 10वां द्वार खुल गया. Now some people say that like in sociopaths, psychopaths, they have got no inner voice at all. They do all those dirty things, wrong things, killing people and everything. They don't have, no. They also have this inner voice in them, but it has become so weak that it does not even speak. But even if they try, they can also bring this inner voice back, make it stronger. But it's very difficult in them. But they can also, sociopaths and psychopaths can also do it. But what we try to do in our life is, we try to hide our mind. We try to show that I am a very religious person. We try to hide our mind. We think that no one can know my mind. On page 919, it's written, such people who are trying to hide their mind. Inwardly polluted and outwardly pure. Those who are outwardly pure and yet polluted within lose their lives in the gamble. They contract this terrible disease of desire, and in their minds they forget about dying. In the Vedas, the ultimate objective is the name of the Lord, but they do not hear this, and they wander around like demons. Says Nanak, those who forsake truth and cling to falsehood lose their lives in the gamble. So they try to be outwardly religious, but inwardly they have desires, bad, evil desires, and they hide this thing, and they lose their life in this gamble. In the next line is written, inwardly pure and outwardly pure. Those who are outwardly pure and also pure within, through the Guru perform good deeds. Not even an iota of falsehood touches them. Their hopes are absorbed in the truth. Those who earn the jewel of this human life are the most excellent of merchants. Says Nanak, those whose minds are pure abide with Guru forever. So they need to change our mind so that our mind is pure, not we outwardly are pure. Now, how to change and triumph over mind? Let us see. Page 1369, Bhagat Kabir says, Kabir, the mind has become a bird. It soars and flies in the 10 directions everywhere. According to the company it keeps, so are the fruits it eats. That means the emphasis here is the company you keep. We must remember this thing. Page 1330. The mind is Maya, the mind is a chaser, the mind is a bird flying across the sky. Page 127. This unstable mind cannot be held steady. That means first thing is to steady this unstable chaser flying mind. Because if the mind is flying chaser, then it cannot learn anything. For that, number one is the role of meditation to steady the mind. Wallace and Benson has done a lot of study on meditation. On transcendental meditation, they say that electroencephalogram shows an increase in alpha wave activity, indicating greater tranquility of mind. So with meditation, there is a tranquility of mind. Heart rate decreases. 20% decrease in oxygen consumption. Diminished effects of epinephrine and other stress-related hormones. So if we do meditation, say in the beginning 10 minutes a day, slowly increase it